Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Keys to AWS Optimization, where today we're going to be diving into database savings plans, answering those frequently asked questions that you and other people have been asking us. We have pulled together, I'm going to use it, what did we say? The Ladies of Optimization as a title. I wish we called the episode that, to talk all about this today. So make sure that you stick all the way through. We're going to be doing some demos. We're going to be talking about what are the criteria to get in a savings plan, some nuances with it, and how you can interact with it. But let's do some intros. So my name is Steph Gooch. I'm a senior SA advocate for AWS, here to help you on your FinOps journey. Savannah?
My name is Savannah Jensen. I am a senior FinOps architect on the optics team. And Mary?
My name is Mary Nachimo. I'm a technical product manager at AWS.
Brilliant. So if you haven't been to the show before, this is the Keys to Database Optimization, the show where we share stories, concepts, and solutions to help you unlock your spend. That is the goal of it. Keep comments, chatter happening in the chat box wherever you're watching, on Twitch or on YouTube. And if you're watching us on demand on YouTube, don't forget you can always drop a comment underneath the video and we will be watching and answering any of your questions. But Savannah, why are we talking about database savings plans? What is this the end of for this quarter?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've taken Q1 to do kind of a deeper dive into all the really exciting launches that came out at reInvent, teach you a little bit how to use some of the tools, how to integrate these things into your business, and how to get them into your FinOps practice. And we saved kind of the biggest one for last. Database savings plans have been something that customers have been asking for since 2019 when we launched EC2 compute savings plans. I know I've been asking for them all the time. So we were all really excited to see this news. I think every customer was really excited to see this news. It was in the keynote. So big launch. And we've had a couple months to start kind of playing around with them. We've got some tooling to show you and some kind of Q&A about how we've seen customers start to integrate them into their FinOps practice and into their cost optimization journey. So really excited to chat through all of that today. And Mary, you own the recommendations tooling for all of our lovely savings plan products. Can you tell us a little bit about kind of like what's exciting to you about this launch, or how you were thinking about it in the lead up to learning that these things are live?
Yeah, of course. So we launched at the last reInvent database savings plans. We presented all the toolings as well. We got a lot of applause for this launch. As you know, everybody's super excited about this. And now, a few months into it, we can talk today about also the most frequent questions we have and how really to make it the user experience of really easy to purchase these database savings plans. So I want to demo a few things today. This is really exciting for us. I'm personally obsessed about creating really simple experiences for complicated products. So if you got intimidated by that or you think it's complex, today we're going to show you how actually we designed an easy experience to purchase where you don't need to dig into the details that much. You really need to click a few buttons, see an estimation, and you can purchase your first database savings plan.
Amazing. Looking forward to it. Before we get into the demo, let's do a little level set and talk about what a database savings plan is, because I think this is a pretty common question. With compute, like it's pretty easy to tie compute and EC2. We do have some other services in there, but like primarily people think about compute savings plans as covering EC2. Database is a little bit more broad. So we definitely get a lot of questions about like, what do these cover? What's in scope? What's out of scope? How do I know? And I think the easiest way that I've found to do it, and the source of truth I always go back to, is the pricing page.
Yeah.
So we can pull that up and take a look.
Let's pull that up. Perfect. Yeah. So database savings plans, as you mentioned, is similar to compute, but it's actually broader. So compute covers 3 services. And database savings plan covers actually more than 10 services. So for anybody who's joining us, you can also log into this page. You can simply search for database savings plans pricing page and you will land over here. And this page is super helpful. It's one of my favorite pages. Any savings plan product has this page. And here you can find the most interesting information. So over here, you can see that all the services that are going to be covered by a savings plan appear over here. So you can see there's a lot of services like Aurora, RDS, serverless services. So in fact, it kind of gives you already a hint that because there is such a large gamut of coverage, and because it's covering server and serverless options, this plan helps you to modernize your instances and actually just modernize your whole environment. When you look in deeper into this page, you can also see that every instance types we post the savings plan rate and the on-demand rate, and also the savings that you get over the on-demand rate. So are ever curious about which instance types are covered, how much discount you get, this page really gives you all the information. And you can select the region over here. So for each region, there are different pricing. You can select the term, the database engine. So everything is actually displayed over here, and you can find anything that you can be covering with the database savings plan in this page. Savannah, have you ever looked at this page already?
Yeah, I love these pages. I have probably spent tens, if not hundreds of hours on the EC2 version of this page, looking at the compute savings plans and like toggling between offerings. This one's really exciting though, because of all the different services that you can scroll through. My customers have primarily been kind of heavy on the RDS footprint so far. So I've spent a good amount of time kind of looking through there and piecing through. It's a great way to answer questions if somebody's like, is this going to cover X, Y, or Z instance, or what's the discount rate that I get if I'm applying it to DynamoDB? Like, you can answer that super quickly. The other exciting piece is now we have recently introduced OpenSearch into this as well. So I need to take a look at those and kind of scroll through and see what the discount rates are. But yeah, really easy to kind of self-answer questions and like build that intuition about how much they save as well. I feel like that's always something that I do when we have new offerings or when I'm like getting familiar with a new savings plan mix, is I need to like build the intuition of how much approximately it's going to save and like what it applies to a little bit.
Yeah. And we've got a bunch of questions. This is the FAQ episode after all, so keep dropping your questions in the chat. We want to make sure that everyone understands what this service is or this product. Will you say service or product? How do we define it? Mary?
I would say that this database savings plan is a new product.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a new product that customers can use to decrease their costs. Yeah, for sure.
It's a product that covers services.
Yeah. Savannah, when you were thinking, you just looked like you were eye rolling and like
Oh no,
I'm gonna go back and screenshot that because it was just, I wish I caught it in time. I'd been like,
pensive but evil.
Yeah, it's just like, why is she asking this dumb question about service and products? It's like, okay.
I'm just considering.
Okay, let's go through some of these questions we have. So number one, does it only cover sevens? So I'm guessing the DB7 family.
Yeah, so I'll take this one. This is correct. And you can actually see it in the pricing page. When you scroll through the instance types, you can see that it covers generation 7 and above. So we want to encourage customers to modernize their instances and upgrade to the new generations that are performing better. You can use this opportunity also to right size, because when you move to the new generation, the performance is better. And you can right size and then also purchase a savings plan on top of that, which is kind of doubling your savings amounts.
One of the other questions that we've been getting a ton, and I think it's tapered off a little bit, but the first question that everybody had in December when we all came back from reInvent and we're trying to wrap our heads around this was, how does this work in addition to the RI fleet that I already have? How do I mix this with my RIs? And most of the time, if a customer's got an existing RI fleet on RDS, some of that is going to be on the previous generations. So those will continue to be RI. You can absolutely run both in tandem, just like when compute savings plans came out, we had folks running both in tandem for a long time, and some folks who are still like mixing RIs and savings plans on the compute side too. So it is something to just layer on, and another mechanism that we can use to increase that cost savings.
Yeah, and so before you purchase, and obviously we'll talk about purchase analyzer soon, but there is that looking at because I think me sometimes impulsively might have, when I heard this, I would have just gone out and bought some straight away and not even noticed that it was only for 7s and been like, oh shoot, I need to go and upgrade all these things and make sure they're modernized. So like you said, it's kind of a good push to do this, but do give yourself a beat between upgrading and purchasing to make sure that you are actually getting the benefit. Or you could buy some and then just scale out as you grow. Okay, let's keep going with some of these questions. How do database savings plans apply across different database engines, RDS, Aurora, Redshift? So what's the current footprint?
Yeah, that's a great question as well. And database savings plans work in a similar fashion to compute savings plan or all of our products, which is it takes and it applies to the instance that has the highest savings percentage first. And then it goes down the list. So whatever has, let's say something has 30% discount, it will apply to that instance first. Once it utilizes all the capacity of the savings plan for that, it will go to something that is less discounted than 30%, for example, 25%. So that's how the algorithm works in the backend when it applies the savings plans on the usage. So it actually creates the benefit of decreasing the cost at the highest way.
We're trying to save you as much money as possible.
Yeah,
essentially.
Thanks for saying.
Yeah,
in a simple way.
Yeah, it's true. And there's always that question of like, how do these things balance? And it's like, we're the reason why we don't want to give you control of where these savings plans apply is to give you the biggest savings. It's like reverse. I was gonna say, like, do you guys, when you have like a 3 for 2 in like a grocery store, or the two, like the cheapest one is never free. Like it's the reverse for Amazon.
Yeah.
They want to give you the biggest savings, which is great. Okay, next question. Are OpenSearch the same as RDS EC2 savings? So
Well,
I'm guessing.
I think the easiest way to answer this one is to pull up the pricing page and take a look, honestly.
Let's see.
Let's have a look.
So we're looking at Ohio. You can select kind of all the SKUs. We can just leave this guy alone. But Ohio, Aurora, MySQL, RDS, 1 year no upfront. Looking at that DBR7G, looks like these are mostly 20% savings over on demand.
Yep.
So if we scroll up and pop over to the OpenSearch section, all will be revealed.
OpenSearch.
Let's have a look. We're learning live, folks. Because I don't know what the answer is to this.
20%.
Also 20%.
Hey, what about EC2?
Wait, scroll down, because that's serverless. Yeah, 20% for these as well.
Nice.
Can you like click through a couple pages? Is it like?
Let's see.
Yeah,
this is
mostly...
flat.
Okay,
but we can let's
always
open,
check
like DynamoDB.
Okay, so
yeah,
there is some
12.
difference.
Yeah.
So always check. And the good thing is the native services know this data. So when you're doing your cost optimization hub or compute optimizer or SBA, like it will know what the saving is. It will not, and quote me if I'm wrong, will not have any discounts applied based on your usage, right? That's a different element. That doesn't show up in the
right
tools.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yep. Okay. Let's keep going. Can you use this tool to calculate multiple services at once for database savings plans? So that's probably for database analyzer. No, savings plan analyzer.
Yeah. I love this question. Yes. So as you can see here, there's so many services, there's so many discount types, and you're probably running a few of these services with different instance types in different regions, and you want to know like how much database savings plans do I need to buy? And yeah, we created a tool for that. It's called Savings Plans Purchase Analyzer, and that actually take all of your data into account. It summarizes it into hourly cost that you have across these services, and then it will generate for you the purchase that will maximize your savings. And if you also want to test different options, you can do that as well with a custom option. And we'll go into that over this call. Yeah.
Perfect. Another question: will it ever include T4G instances?
I
Is that
don't
order?
I don't know that we have a like
Database?
well, I don't know that we have a certain answer to that.
Mhm.
I think with those, one, like they might not be included because of when they were released, but at the same time, like this is a new product. I will say this about many AWS products. We listen to customer feedback really, really a lot, and we take it very seriously. Database savings plans in general were a long time customer request that we had to figure out essentially like how to develop and make work in a way that was going to be maximally beneficial. If you look at the service ads that we've had recently, OpenSearch was recently added, and what was it? Neptune Analytics was the other one.
Yeah.
So I'm not ruling anything out at this point. I think we're still definitely in the phase where AWS is seeing how customers use these products, what works for them, what doesn't. If you do have feedback about a certain thing that you'd love to see included, or something that is really a blocker, or something that's making it a little bit harder for you to use these, absolutely reach out to us, reach out to your account team, reach out to cost optimization at amazon.com. And we can make sure that that gets to the service team so that they hear that feedback and can kind of drive the product in the direction that it needs to go to solve your problems.
I was going to set you up and be like, where should they go for that? And see if you could remember the email address.
I remember it now, Steph. You don't have to believe me.
Yeah, I would
once,
really.
It happened once.
I highly encourage everybody to go through this process because this is how we actually create the best features when we see that there's a customer need. And then we go through this process of collecting a lot of feedback and resolving it with the customer and making sure that our solution is really simple, like the analyzer, that not only gives the customer one little tool, but actually a full end-to-end solution. So we really love launching features like that. So I really highly encourage to give us feedback more frequently than maybe you used to now.
This is a piece of Amazon lore that I'm not sure I've ever said on Twitch before. But early on in AWS's history, there was a commenter on the forums who gave us tons of feedback and was totally like picking holes and everything. And the commenter's username was Low Flying Hawk. And now in Seattle, we have a building named Low Flying Hawk. So we love feedback so much that we might name a building after you.
What? Okay,
yeah, that's right.
I didn't know this.
I need a building. That's wild. Because if you don't know, loads of the buildings all have weird names, right? Of projects or events or like stuff. So it's a cool place. It's a cool place. All right, let's do this one. I used to be an IT professional and I've retired for almost 10 years. How can I understand what all the AWS services are? I'm a FileMaker developer. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my screen down, add mine up. One thing I recommend doing is going on to our free training platform. So number one, subscribe to this channel, like this video, obviously. And that way, like we have all these free, you can look through this whole YouTube channel. If you pop on over to, you're on Twitch right now, but I would recommend going over to Amazon Events YouTube. We'll drop the link in the channel as well. But that way you can kind of see all these videos over time and learn a little bit about the different products, have people like us talking, but also we have free training such as Skill Builder. I always take the S from Savings Plans and put it onto Skill Builder, but it's not Skills Builder, it's Skill Builder. Here's some examples of some courses that some of us might have contributed to, but this course is on everything, so it's a really good place to kind of get started. You can sign up for free and get kind of building. So that is what I would recommend to start. One more question. Do database savings plan recommendations overlay my RI recommendations in the cost management console?
That's a great question. So the way the RI recommendation works and the savings plan database recommendation work is that the recommendation engine looks at the uncovered on demand and then recommends to cover it to maximize the savings. So it means that, yes, it's in a way overlaying that. So if you have summary coverage and it brought you to some of these services, let's say to 50% coverage, and you want to start using database savings plan, you can definitely just use the recommendations out of the box because it will take into account that you have some coverage already in the system. Yeah.
So it's, say that again, so you want to be 100%. So if I've already bought a savings plan on RDS, no, an RI for my RDS,
Yes.
will savings plans suggest a purchase for savings plan analyzer suggest a purchase for that RDS, or just kind of ignore it?
So it will, if it's already fully covered, it's not going to suggest for you to buy more. But if you have some uncovered RDS, it will, and it falls under all the categories in that pricing page, it will suggest for your purchase. So you can safely use it without thinking like, oh, maybe it's going to double cover me. It's not. If you just purchased RIs and you want to purchase a database savings plan and you see a recommendation in the UI, feel free to take that. It's safe. Yeah. I want to make sure
it takes your existing fleet into account. No matter what that fleet is on, it'll take what you already have and what you already own into account when it spits out a recommendation for you.
Sometimes we had cases where customers would have RI recommendations and they will go to the database savings plan recommendation and they will see have no recommendations there. Usually it's because they're not on generation 7 and above. So that kind of, I want to make sure everybody knows that so they're not surprised when like, hey, why I don't have that? Or the same use case for, oh, my savings or my recommendation is higher in the RI than the database savings plan. Right, because most of your fleet are not on generation 7 and above, and that's why the recommendation in the RI space will be higher. So what I would recommend is, yes, purchase the RIs if you're not ready to modernize, but once you're ready to modernize, maybe hold off on the RI purchase, modernize, and then you can benefit from the flexibility of purchasing a database savings plan.
Excellent. There's it's a real like, I had that panic, I think, when it was released. I was like, I have no recommendations. And then Mary was like, Steph, you're not on 7. I was like, oh, Steph, you need to modernize. Embarrassing. Okay, another kind of prompt. Forgive my naivety, but I'm confused as to how we save money with a database. Are we saving on API calls, storage, both? Sorry, super new to this. Savannah, do you want to explain the concept of savings plans?
Yeah. So let's take RDS as our guinea pig here. If you're running RDS, you have essentially a database instance that is running in your account, DB, instance family, size. That database instance has a per hour price point. The database savings plan is essentially your way of saying, hey, AWS, I know I'm going to be running something within the database service queue for the next year. Can you give this to me at a little bit of a discount if I tell you that I'm going to be running it for a year? And if you purchase that database savings plan, we're essentially saying, yep, all good. We know you're going to be running this for a year because you've told us that. We're going to give you a little discount off of that purchase price. So that $1 per hour cost of running the database instance comes down. Varies a little bit for some of the serverless pieces as well, because obviously like you're not running that for an hour, but same concept. You're telling us that you are going to have demand for a set amount of time that allows AWS to capacity plan, and therefore we can pass that savings on to you by lowering the price point.
I said, I understand. Good explanation. Excellent. All right. Hey, Kenneth. As my co-speaker from reInvent. Shall we have a new AWS FinOps certification, not just a course? I love that feedback, and you can always send me an email. Well, you've got my email, but send us an email at costoptimization@amazon.com and suggest it. It's something we've talked about before. Just need to dedicate time and people to it, and if customers want that and think it's beneficial, then let us know. Okay, we've got a couple more questions are coming in. Love it. We'll make sure. We'll do these questions, then we'll bring on the demos to make sure that we cover SBA. Okay. Okay. How can database savings plans reduce operational costs for technology companies? I don't know if Savannah or Mary, you want to take this one?
Sure. I mean, they reduce your bill by reducing that price point that you're paying for the database services that you're running in exchange for the commitment that we talked about earlier. So it's going to bring down your monthly AWS bill, and you'll be getting the same services at a lower cost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would also say that managing one database savings plan for over 10 services is easier than managing the RIs for each one, especially because database savings plan is also flexible. So yes, you need to be on generation 7 and above, but once you're above that, you really don't need to worry to change. You're not locked into the instance type. You can really change the size or the generation as long as it's above 7, and you will be still covered by a database savings plan. So it kind of takes that tedious work of when you need to do with RIs when you're locked into a certain generation with them. You don't need to do that anymore. So it actually saves you a lot of time of calculating purchases and monitoring them and making sure you're at the right coverage level, because database savings plan catches so many things at once. You have more margin for error, let's say. Like, I think.
Well, just more margin for savings. So you have kind of a kind of umbrella term. And also there's two things that these guys are saying. One is you're saving time by not having to manage it, and two, you're saving money. So those can be invested into other areas. But Lewis, I'm gonna do all Lewis's questions because they're all very good. And Lewis, do me a favor, you're on YouTube. Drop me a like, drop the video a like for us. If you're on YouTube, everyone go like so other people can find our video. Savannah, I was supposed for Savannah. What type of workload benefits the most from adopting these savings plans?
Yeah, so I'm going to answer this like a little bit more generally. I would say for any commitment-based discount product like a savings plan or an RI, you have to be reasonably sure that you're going to be running that workload for the duration of the commitment. With a savings plan, either on the compute side or on the database side, you have a lot more flexibility. So there are kind of fewer pieces of the SKU that you need to be positive about. And this is especially true with database savings plans because of the flexibility across products that we have and all of the flexibility that is baked into the savings plan itself. So really the type of workload that's going to benefit the most from adopting these is anything that you're going to be running for a year and anything that you know you're going to continue running for a year that falls under this product umbrella.
Excellent. And last question from Lewis. How does long-term commitments and savings plans impact financial planning and budgeting? We kind of covered this, but anything else you want to mention when it comes to planning or budgeting, right?
I would say that it's similar to compute savings plans. So you do need to think about how is your usage and environment going to look like in the next year? Is it similar to last year? And you can plan based upon that. I would say that like everybody is very sensitive and aware of this concept of you can buy over purchase, right? So we always tell, okay, purchase things in tranches, increase your coverage over time so you will feel safer and you grow as your environment grows. But on the other side, if a year goes by and you were at a low coverage over the year, we also lost on some savings you could have achieved. So you can err on like buying too much, but you can also err on buying too little. And the goal for the financial planning would be like, how do we really manage to purchase the amount that will maximize the savings for the next 12 months?
Yeah. I'll take this like a slightly different direction too. Not so much financial planning or I guess not so much directly budgeting, but the other thing to consider is if you're going to be moving from one purchase strategy to another in terms of where you purchase these products, sometimes that can have impact on your cost allocation and how you charge out different business units. So one thing that's fairly common is we'll see maybe a FinOps team manage the compute footprint at the payer level, and then have each individual team manage their RI purchases for RDS, OpenSearch, Elasticache. I think that's like historically at least fairly common. With a database savings plan, like it's very likely that some of that purchasing for those DB services might be able to be done in aggregate. So as those RIs age out and as fleets modernize, instead of each individual team purchasing their own set of RIs, maybe all of that goes up to the FinOps team because the product is more flexible, it's simpler. And at that point, like one, you have to think about how you're going to communicate with those teams a little bit and understand what their demand looks like and what you should re-up on. But you also need to think about how you are allocating the savings plan benefits and the savings plan costs at the top, especially if that coverage amount changes or if you're seeing more coverage across accounts that have never gotten it before because these new products are a lot more flexible, or because now we're covering Neptune, which wasn't necessarily on that title slate before. So there's some thinking to do there. I don't know how much that ties into the budgeting. It probably depends on different companies, but that's something to keep in mind as you move through the process of adopting these and like adding them to your FinOps strategy.
Yeah, and we've got a couple more questions, but I want to dive into the demo. So let's transition over to Savings Plan Analyzer, which is the tool that service, product. See, I'm never going to get it right. I always want to interchange these phrases.
It's Mary's baby.
That may Miss Mary's baby. Product. And we're going to show you kind of how to use it, where it's in the console, and also what it looks like with Database Savings Plan. Yours will look different. I'm just going to caveat that now. We are not running production workloads in this account, so the data is going to look slightly different. This is just a demo. But after today's session, all of you, I want you to go and have a little look. You don't have to buy anything, but maybe just have a little look and see what the recommendations are. So let's bring this up.
Perfect.
So how do we get there?
Yeah, how do we get there? So if anybody want to follow with me, they can log into their AWS console, and I want to show you step by step exactly how to get to all the tools and what can you do in all of these tools, and how to purchase the database savings plan really within a few clicks. So first of all, this is just the landing screen. You will go to billing and cost management. You can type it here in the search. I have it in recently visited. Once you use it a few times, you will also have it over here as well. So you can go ahead and click over here. So we have one click, and then you scroll down below until you see savings plans under savings plans commitments. And here we have all the tools you need to do to purchase and analyze commitments. So let's start with recommendations. I think it's a good place to start, as if you really don't still kind of getting the lay of the land and want to understand what kind of savings plans we have and what is recommended for you to purchase, that this is a really great starting point. So as you can see, we have Compute Savings Plan, Database, EC2, and SageMaker. And for each of these savings plans, you have a little cheat sheet over here where you can see what it covers. So in this case, I see it's like, oh, compute is for EC2, Fargate, and Lambda. So these are 3 services. For database, we actually we don't have here the full list because
it's a long list.
It's a long list. So we list one of the top ones, and then we just say other services. So you will have to go to the pricing page to see the full list. For EC2, it's really simple. It's just for EC2 instances, and SageMaker is for SageMaker. So now you understand what kind of savings plans we have. Let's focus today on database savings plan, but the functionality I'm going to talk about is applying to all of them. So I'll click on database savings plans. I did refresh, by the way, here. You can refresh the recommendation anytime you want. I refreshed it yesterday when I was kind of testing this feature. So you can see that it's 18 hours ago, but you can refresh it on demand. Once I scroll down, I have a few options. I can see my recommendation for pair or linked account. And actually, Savan, should we talk a little bit about these 2 options and what it means for different users?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that ties back a little bit to the cost allocation question that I was hinting at earlier. So the payer account level is going to essentially take into account everything across all of the AWS accounts that are in your organization and say, okay, if I'm looking at all of that usage in aggregate, what should I buy to cover all of them? This option is going to give you essentially that highest savings margin. As Steph mentioned earlier, like we build that discount stack and we start with that highest discount rate and kind of go down and then figure out what's going to be covered as it waterfalls down the pile, basically. The bigger that pile is and the more usage we can get into that pile, the more like chance that we have a large stack of high discount rates at the top. So payer, aggregate, maximizing savings. With that said, linked account level recommendations are also really common. If you have a set of business units that own their own linked accounts and they know that they're going to be running things for a year, 3 years, et cetera, and they have a really good understanding of their workload, maybe it makes sense to purchase a savings plan for them, but maybe not for the business unit that is just starting out on AWS. They don't know what they're going to be looking like 6 months from now, and they own another set of linked accounts within your billing family. It really depends on your use case. I do see people kind of go through the motions of generator recommendations for both. It can also be helpful to see like a breakdown of what the recommendation would be per linked account, if that's something that you're interested in, so you can get a better understanding of where the fleet is sitting within your organization. But I think if you're looking for an all up number, just a gut check on how much you could save, I usually start with payer.
Yeah, totally agree. And if anybody has an option to keep it simple, I would say getting the payer recommendation, also purchasing at the payer level is the easiest way to go. But of course, sometimes the way things are built, you have to purchase from linked accounts, so we have that option as well. Okay, so after you select your level, I'll just keep it at payer here. There's term, a payment option, and the look-back period. So specifically for database savings plans, right now we only offer 1 year term and upfront. But if you click on the other options, you will have these available, and you can also see what the recommendation for 3-year term and the other payment options. The last, but actually very important configuration based on the past, you're actually selecting your look back period. So what I want you to think about when you're selecting this is what historical data will reflect my future the best. So if you just were ramping up in the last 60 days, maybe that's not the best look back period because it's not going to reflect your next 12 months. And here we have last 7 days. If your environment is growing quickly, it's good to take a look at the last 7 days so you can really cover the most recent usage. But in Analyzer, we'll give you more flexibility on this topic. So if one of these 3 is not really matching the mental model of like, this is how my future is going to look like, we have more options for you in Analyzer, which is a more flexible tool. Yeah. So once
sorry, can I just
go ahead. Of
one
course.
more quick thing. The other thing to consider here is like migrations at peak events. So I think you covered migrations. Like if your account's scaling up rapidly, then definitely be conscious of that. But the other one that sometimes gets people into trouble is if they've had a peak event. So if you are a game studio and you just launched a video game and you have that really high user spike, probably not the time to run this analysis. You probably want to wait at least 7 days until after that levels off and then run back based on the past 7 days. So just think about what's going on in your business as well.
Yeah, of course. That's a good comment. Okay, so after you selected all these properties, you can scroll down and see your recommendation. The recommendation appears at the bottom over here. So my recommendation for the database is 1 year, no upfront, and the commitment is 0.169 per hour, and it will estimate it to save for me 18%. So if I click on view details over here, I can see the visual representation of this recommendation. So let's break this down. In my case, in this demo environment, I do have database savings plan I already purchased. Maybe in your case, you're not going to see this green area over here because you haven't purchased any savings plans yet. So this only appears when you purchased already. And when I hover over it, I can see that my current database savings plan commitment is $1.453.
Wow, big spender.
Yeah. I went crazy with this one. It's recommended for me to purchase 0. Let's call it 0.2.
16 cents. Yeah.
And I have a little bit of on-demand left over. So because my usage in this case is flat, is pretty much telling me to cover all of this. So actually, to make things more interesting and more flexible, I want to click here on Purchase Analyzer. So in Purchase Analyzer, as you can see, the menu in the beginning is very similar, and also I want to show that you can click also here to go to Purchase Analyzer. And here we have more options. It's more flexible. I would say that this is a superset of everything you can do and everything you can generate. And recommendations is a subset we pre-compute for you, so you can just have a quick look of, that's kind of, isn't it cool?
Yeah, so you have more power, because there was a question which was can you exclude linked accounts from the analysis?
It's a great
Can you
question.
do that in here?
Not yet.
Not
But
yet.
you can,
Yeah.
if you give us a lot of feedback, maybe it will appear there. But you can, let me show you what you can do. You can select here a specific linked account and start working with a specific linked account, but it's still or specific linked account or payer. Actually, there are some sharing configurations where you can kind of fence off one specific linked account or a group of linked accounts and have them being sharing savings plan as a group rather than with the whole organization. So these options exist, but it's not native in the analyzer at the moment. What you can do with analyzer is after you select, we'll keep it payer. Let me select the database savings plan. In this case, I have 1 year and upfront. I can't change that. But I can exclude expiring savings plans. In my case, I still don't have anything that is going to expire in the next 90 days because, of course, database savings plan just launched. So it will take some time for this list to be populated. But once that happens, if you have something that come into an expiration soon and you want to plan for it ahead of time, you can expire it. Ignore it. If you select it from this list, we're not going to take that into account. So yeah, any questions on this?
I think that all makes sense. I think the custom box down there is really what I'm interested in.
Yeah, so let's click on that. For custom, because we had such a low recommendation, I want to experiment with a little even lower. Let's say I'm not ready for the full purchase.
16 cents is too much. Let's start with 5. We're scared.
5 cents. That's all I have right now. Whoa. And I'm going to click on run analysis. Now, what it does right now in the background, it takes all the services that we discussed, RDS, Aurora, Elastic Cache, OpenSearch, and it looks at the cost per hour per each of these services. Then only for not eligible usage, so anything that is generation 7 and up, as we mentioned. And then it overlays hour by hour the existing commitments that I have. So I have some commitments, as we saw already. And then it overlays the new commitment that I made, which is the 5 cents. And now I can see also the on-demand leftover I have. So here we see that I have more on-demand leftover because I purchased less of a savings plan. And over here, not only that I can see the cost, I can also go and see the coverage. So right now, I'm already covered. If I go here, let's say around 90% coverage, and I can go up to 92% coverage with this new purchase. So when you have something that is more dynamic, you will see here it's going to go up and down. But in this case, I have flat usage. So these two are straight lines. And I can also see my utilization. So if I buy this 5 cent recommendation commitment, it will be 100% utilized, as I can see here on this chart. So you can take a look based on the look back period here, which is 7 days. All the hourly data over that last 7 days will be overlaid over here, and you can hover it and you see hour by hour the data that we're generating. Now, I want to go back a little bit to if you had a peak at the last 7 days and it's not a good representation of your future. If you click over here, you can actually select any,
that's slick. That's slick.
Yeah. So you can select different date ranges. So if you had peak over here, you can maybe the first week of March was a good representation. So this is kind of helps you to scope to the usage that is more representative of the future. And then you can see the recommended amount, or you can play with custom amounts. And once you decide which database savings plan fits your budgets and your usage, you can click on add to cart, and this straight takes you to the cart, and you can execute the purchase really within a few seconds.
Awesome. Yeah, Purchase Analyzer is such a powerful tool. like just in general, it's great. It's so exciting. It's made a lot of the like decision fatigue and analysis paralysis that folks have when they're figuring out how to add on to their existing savings plan strategy a lot easier. What I see folks use it for, and what I expect they'll use it for database savings plans as well, is essentially like going through that what if analysis. So like, how high do I want to push the coverage? If I am adding on like a purchase every quarter, what can that look like? What different layers and like points can I think through and build up as I go through here? It's going to spit out, as we saw at the bottom, like those savings and utilization and coverage metrics. So it really kind of takes all the data points that you would want and presents them in a very straightforward way so that you can wrap your head around this. And if you are in an organization where you need to get budget approval or need to kind of cascade this up the chain, like it's very easy to get all those stats and look at those different scenarios while you're going through that process.
Yeah, what I also saw many customers do is they look at the recommendation, and the recommendation is the max savings. So this is the highest you should go. You shouldn't really go above that. And then start purchasing sometimes 50% of the recommended amount, then after a week purchasing the other 50% of the recommended amount, or they build this up through even smaller chunks. And that's how it's very comfortable to build confidence in the tool, see that it really delivers on the promise, and also see how your usage evolves over time to make sure that you're really staying in the safe area of purchase.
Yeah, I've told the story many a time. First time savings plans came out, I bought $1, and I worked for one of the big four companies, and we had a lot of spend for savings plans. But like you said, I wanted to see, what does it look like in Affect My Spend? What is it like in my car? I also had to get approval to commit like thousands and thousands of dollars. So this was like a little trial that I could just do. And even though it was $1 an hour, that does add up. So kind of tracking that. We've got a couple of questions I want to jump into, but is there anything else you want to showcase in the demo before we?
So after you purchase the savings plan, we also have the utilization and coverage reports, which are available for all the savings plan types. So I do want to show this just for a moment on how to use it in the context of database savings plan. So if you click on utilization report over here, and that's after you purchase, that utilization by default is just aggregating all the savings plans you have in the system. So really, to look for databases, you would have to click over here, select this box, and apply. So that's how you will see. Okay, here we go. This is how you will see just the utilization for your database savings plans. For coverage, so actually, to take a step back, the utilization of your savings plan means how well are you using the savings plan you purchased? Is it really 100% utilized or not? Do you have enough usage for the savings plan to really extend throughout? So this is the utilization part. The coverage part is over here, and this is how much of the usage are you covering with savings plans. So for example, you can be 100% utilized and your coverage would be 90%. So yeah, you out of all your usage, you're covering 90% of that, and you don't have a lot of deeps, so you're 100% utilizing the savings plan. I hope that was clear.
Yeah.
It sometimes takes some time to get used to these two different concepts. And for coverage report, if you want to see the coverage report for your database savings plans, then you need to go over here, and actually you need to select here all the database services to see the coverage. So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
More explicit in choice. Nice.
Do you like Dynamo? Or I guess, I don't know what you have in this account.
Yeah, I mean, to be safe, I would probably just select all of them. Let's see.
Cool. Okay. I feel like that is like an underrated feature because it lets you see like how much coverage is left on each of the services if you look at them one by one. Interesting. That's nice.
Yeah.
Oh, and it breaks down by instance family too.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can see my RDS is a little, has 80% coverage, and the recommendation I got. Yeah, exactly. The recommendation I got was to increase this coverage.
Yeah.
But you can see here that so I do have document DB and RDS in the system. That's what we have here.
Cool.
Mhm.
I did drop a link in the chat as well. If you
Mhm.
have a need to understand like what instances these savings plans are applying to at a line item level or at an hourly level, you can use the cost and usage report to do that. Dropped a workshop in the chat that's got essentially a starting point that'll walk you through how to cost allocate savings plans and RIs of any type, but it does have a set of queries in there, so you can really see like a very low level of granularity, or I guess high granularity, low, you know what I mean, where those savings plans are covering and which resources in your environment they're applying to, if that is a need.
Brilliant. I was going to say there's a question about how do I track where they're being applied, so you can use those queries to see what we've got. Right, we've only got a little bit of time left for some questions. Here's one that we want to maybe clarify. If I want to modernize some of my instances, but I have RIs, can I convert those to the equivalent of database savings plans? So can you convert an RI to a savings plan? I don't think so. Confirm me if I'm
No. So RIs are a commitment that you do have to essentially wait until you finish the commitment that you've agreed to, right? I think people anticipated running into this more than they actually are because of the fact that it's 7 series forward and because there are so many products included in the database savings plans, and more flexibility there. But if you do have an existing RI fleet, definitely want to time the modernization with when that RI fleet is going to be aging out, just like we've always kind of said in the past as well. The difference is that now we've got a more flexible product that you can add on as you're doing that modernization, which may allow you to increase the amount of commitment and savings you get as you're starting to kind of roll that modernization forward.
Excellent. Right. So there's a couple more questions, but we don't really have time to cover them right now. So please pop over to YouTube at Amazon Events. And after we finish the stream, like 5 minutes after, just jump on there, drop them in the comments, and we'll make sure to get back to you on those. Couple of housekeeping bits before we do our Secret Richard summary. Let me add this to stage. There we go. This is what it looks like, the workshop Savannah mentioned. So go and have a look at this. As you can see, lots of videos and some big queries that do a lot of the hard work for you for looking at your spend. I'll just also mention again, Skill Builder, can never do it. Skill Builder, go there if you want to have some free training along this. Couple of other cool things. If you are London based and you're coming to the FinOps X Day represent next Tuesday, I'm doing a lightning talk on Kira cost optimization. If you see me there and you watch the show, come say hi. Let me know what you'd like to see on the show. Also, if you are going to FinOps X, then I shall be there doing a session with Adam and Brent from Capital One. So make sure you sign up to the session on Wednesday. So grab that. After the show, we often do publishing of stories that we've covered. So make sure to go over to Community Help Builder Center, which is where you can follow along all the information about shows. This is the last episode of this quarter. So make sure you follow me on there so that you can get updates of when we're doing new things, see new articles, see summaries of show. Go on there. And last but not least, also, I said this at the start to Savannah that we've hit a goal of hitting 400 people join the CAT team LinkedIn, which is very exciting. But if you haven't already, what are you doing? Make sure you come on here. This is where we share loads of awesome resources, blogs, videos that the team puts out. So go and join that. Oh, so much housekeeping. With that, let's go to our Secret Richard summary. So as a reminder, we have Richard who sits behind the scenes listening to us and comes up with a summary. Savannah, do you want to read it?
Oh, scary. Okay.
Okay. We do not know what's said, and here we go. If I can add the stage. That's not that.
I'm excited. Okay. This is new to me.
No, it wasn't a fever dream. Database savings plans are real. That's true. That's true. They are real. We're very excited. Yep. OpenSearch and Neptune Analytics added since reInvent. Yep, pretty recent. So keep an eye out on those CFM announcements to see if we add more. Layer on DBSPs as RIs expire and usage is modernized. Perfect tip. Thank you, Secret Richard. And model commit values to fit your strategy with Purchase Analyzer. Yes, absolutely. Go check out Purchase Analyzer immediately if you haven't done it already. It's really fun to play with.
Yes, go and have a play. Let us know how you get on by either going and comment on the YouTube video or dropping us an email. And please do, please, as a favor, go and like any of the shows you've watched with our thumbnail color. Go back and like this so we can get more people to watch these things and keep doing the show. With that, like I said, it's the last episode of this quarter, but next quarter, course two will be starting on the 16th of April. I've just said that, I believe so. It's 16th of April, so make sure you mark it in your diaries. We're going to be doing a whole season on something I'm calling holistic FinOps. So having a little look at other areas and other lenses that affect FinOps, so security, AI, observability, all those fun things. Kicking off with a customer story on our first episode back. So make sure you put a little mark in your diary. And with that, we'll leave it for now. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to Mary, lovely guest, and my fabulous co-host Savannah. And we'll see you all in April. Bye for now.